Mercy. What an emotional night, man. What an emotional night. I gotta tell you. I've been a wrestling fan since the early 1980s, and I gotta tell you, man, I definitely did a good job fighting back the tears and the emotions. But to see The Undertaker essentially ride off into the sunset one last time, this was it for us WWE fans. Here he is, right here, right before our very eyes, one last time. We're seeing the dead man. We're given a night where we can all come together as wrestling fans and say thank you to 30 years of such fun memories from the Phenom. It's really weird. I'm going to talk a lot more about it, but I'm just going through a whole lot of mixed emotions right now. Let's go ahead and kick off the show, man. Let's kick off the intro, and we're going to have right at it. You're checking out the RCWR show. Let's do this.
Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
You need something like that right now. You need something kind of upbeat. You need something energetic right now because it was very somber seeing the way Survivor Series closed out there. And for some people that might have read some of my tweets leading up to tonight's pay-per-view event, or if you had checked out the show from earlier this week, you all know I called for a spot where I was hoping somebody would attack The Undertaker right after the whole farewell thing. He gives his speech and okay, that's it. Paying it forward, so to speak. And I told you guys, hey, I gave you some nice honorable mentions. I said, hey, I would love to see if maybe Karrion Kross could be one of those guys. He was the very first name I put out there. The second name that I put out there was, take it for what it is. I know it's up for debate, but I did say Lars Sullivan. I even mentioned Aleister Black, considering some of the things that was going on in recent headlines concerning Aleister Black. I know some people were even saying Baron Corbin. Look, I'm not touching that. Y'all alone on the Baron Corbin one. But I was hoping that maybe we would get something of that nature. But based off what we got tonight, Vince McMahon, no. You know that we can do that for any other guy, but for the dead man, The Undertaker, hands off. No, we are going to let him ride off into the sunset here. We're not going to do any little angle off of this. This is his moment. That's what we're going to give him. And what a bittersweet moment that it was for the dead man, The Undertaker. I felt very mixed watching it, though. I really, really did. I felt very sad, joy, just a whole lot of mixed emotions there. And it's weird because I remember watching the Last Ride miniseries. I'm sure many of us that took the time out to watch it do. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And luckily, my family was able to watch The Undertaker spot with me tonight. And my girl brought up a good point. She said, you know, it was probably a lot different for you, knowing that he was going to be retiring and everything because he was doing it out of character and it was for that documentary series. Whereas now we're getting him in the character, one last time here. And I had to really stop and think about it and say, you know what? Yeah, because when he revealed that was it, he's done. We're going, okay, yeah, that was on The Last Ride documentary. Okay, cool. But to have the dead man come back out, the dead man that we remember, oh so well growing up and everything, come out one more time and everything, that was just a whole lot of mixed emotions. And then add on top of that, seeing all of the legends that was in attendance for tonight. The Godwins, Savio Vega, Kevin Nash, Rikishi, Shane O'Mac, Big Show, Jeff Hardy. my God, there's like other names that I missed. Triple H. Did I mention Shawn Michaels already? If I didn't mention Shawn Michaels already, Shawn Michaels, Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I'm sure there's probably about 2 to maybe 4 other names in there that I'm missing. I'm sure you guys will definitely remind me during the course of the show. But so many legends were there paying homage to the dead man. And here's the thing that I thought was kind of, I don't know if anybody else was kind of noticing this as well. By the way, you're checking out the RCWR show. Kane, yes, I got a funny story with Kane. I'll get to Kane in a hot second. You're checking out the RCWR show, covering the latest and all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. We are talking Survivor Series 2020 Fallout. We got a nice pay-per-view event that pretty much had a nightcap of Undertaker getting his just due. Undertaker closing out the pay-per-view. So for those of you that were maybe under the impression, oh, they're going to have Taker come out and then we're going to get our main event. No, they let Taker actually close out the pay-per-view. And as you guys can see, I am representing for the occasion. I have not bust out this shirt since I think it was part 4 or 5 of the Undertaker's Last Ride series. I've got my kick-ass Undertaker Last Ride t-shirt, and on the back it says Last Ride and everything. Got this from WWEshop.com for those of you that might be a little curious, so check it out when you guys get a chance. Good stuff, especially right now since they're doing buy one at regular price, get a t-shirt for $1 off. So there you go, get this. I like it. The material, if you want to pick my brain real quick, look, I'm not making any money off of WWE. If anything, I'm putting money in WWE's pocket. But for those of you that care a great deal about shirt quality and everything, I have had my favorites as far as WWE shirts go, but the quality on this one, top notch. But yeah, this is only the second time that I am wearing this shirt and everything. Kane, I gotta tell you, Kane was hilarious because I'm watching this in real time and everybody is in these nice, fine designer suits, clothing and everything. Jeff Hardy, he's in street clothes, but he does the traditional face paint, and he's paying homage to the dead man. He's got the Undertaker symbol on his face. For those of you that didn't see the pay-per-view yet, I gotta tell you, when you see the makeup job that he did, because by now I think all of y'all know that when it comes to Jeff Hardy and his makeup, he does it himself, much like Sting. He does it himself in the mirror and everything, minutes, hour before he goes out and everything. His paint was awesome, but everybody's coming out. They got on nice street clothes. For the most part, they're wearing suits. And then when you get to Kane Glenn Jacobs, you hear his Kane music and everything. Kane comes out in his ring attire, and you're going, oh. And that's why, now you guys can kind of understand where I'm coming from when I said, oh, I hope that maybe somebody is going to come out. And I said this days before the pay-per-view. I hope somebody comes out, attacks Undertaker. So when I'm seeing Kane dressed in his ring attire, I'm going, oh, so it's possible something's going to happen then. Something's going to happen, because why else would Kane dress like that? And at one point, you see Kane kind of look at the rest of the guys kind of as if he was saying, I didn't get the memo. Wait, you said wear your best suit. I thought you meant my in-ring suit. I didn't know you meant like actually street clothes. So I could have came as Glenn Jacobs. That's how it looked. Because we sure as hell, after all of those legends were in the ring, we sure as hell did not see Kane after that. We did not see Kane after that. Great montage highlighting the career of Undertaker, by the way. Setting up Vince McMahon in the ring by himself, properly introducing the Undertaker, technically, really thanking the man for 30 years of service and everything. You can see he was getting pretty choked up about it a couple of times and everything. By the way, sidebar. Has Father Time really caught up to Vince McMahon there? I mean, look, we all age. It happens to us, whether we like it or not. But I actually had to remind myself, how long had it been since we actually seen Vince McMahon last? I'm thinking to myself, man, has it been maybe almost a year since I've seen Vince? And then quickly I had to remind myself, no, it wasn't that long ago. You saw Vince McMahon at least somewhere between 6 to about 8 months ago you saw him. So no, but yeah, it's just, man, kind of melancholy is the whole experience I could describe, just watching everything play out. Because on the one hand, even though you're saying goodbye to a legend and everything, and it's bringing up all these emotions, and you don't want to see this guy go, on the other hand, you're saying to yourself, man, you know what? My childhood was pretty freaking awesome because I grew up on guys like Savio Vega, The Godfather, aka Papa Shango, Kane, Kevin Nash, the Godwins, Ric Flair, Triple H. I mean, you just go on and on and on and on and on with the names, and you just go, nah, you know what? I had a pretty damn good childhood, especially as far as a wrestling fan goes. You had a pretty damn good childhood if you recognize all of those faces that was in that ring tonight, and you could just recall, oh, I remember that match with, oh yeah, and what about that time? Oh, Booker T was in the house as well. So many fond memories, but like I said, mixed with a little bit of both there. I gotta tell you something, more so for WWE and Undertaker as well. I'm sure Undertaker is okay either way, but I really wish that under different circumstances, this could have happened in front of a live audience. I really, 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 really do. And you would just like to believe that in a perfect world, with the COVID numbers, just remember how it was during the summer? Remember how it was March, April, May, and we saw a rise, but then May going into June, July, August, it went down. And for a lot of areas across the US, they went into phase 1, then phase 2. Some areas, a lot of areas had saw phase 3. I just wish that we would have continued to be on that steady decline, because I would just like to have wishful thinking that how we continue to go on that steady decline, eventually maybe WWE would have said, okay, well, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's have fans come in, but let's let it be at a 25, 30 capacity limit. Tonight's Survivor Series event, no fans, from what I could see, no fans were in attendance. So I wish that I guess there's just that selfish part in me as a fan, but health first above anything. But I do wish under different circumstances all of this would have happened in front of some type of a fan base. I'm sure WWE really would have appreciated that. I'm sure it really would have meant something to Undertaker, Mark Calloway, but he probably would have been okay either way. But yeah, just, now we can kind of be at ease. We can kind of be at peace, because we all were given such a bombshell when Undertaker dropped the bomb on the Last Ride miniseries. And it's, whoa, well, that was kind of left field. Not really, because for some of us, we kind of had the impression that, okay, he really doesn't have too many more of these. Don't really see this guy going in additional 3, maybe 4 years. Sooner or later, that's got to be it, right? That's got to be it. So at least we all collectively as fans, and that's the other cool thing that I love about moments like this. Moments like this, it's very rare that we as wrestling fans can come together, put our differences to the side, and you know what I'm saying? It's rare that we can all come together and, hey, yeah, say what you will. This guy right here, though, this guy's been at it for X amount of decades, great body of work, and he's riding off into the sunset. Yeah, hey. And it was great seeing all the interactions, everybody sharing their Undertaker memories. Loved it on so many levels. Thank you, Undertaker. I mean, that's all. What can I really say after all of that? What can I really say except follow up on what I said for our Last Ride series? And if you guys are curious, it's on our Patreon page at the RCWR Show, patreon.com/RCWR Show. Me and the missus, we reviewed every single episode of Undertaker's Last Ride. And to just follow up on what I said there on the 5th episode, Undertaker, from one fan, speaking on behalf of many fans around the world, thank you. Thank you, brother, for 30 years of entertainment, 30 years of great storytelling, 30 years of great rivalries, 30 years of OMG moments, 30 years there where we're going into WrestleMania. I mean, my God, I can just tell you guys stories for an hour of WrestleManias where me and my friends and family, junior high, high school, we're all getting together. You know that commercial that's floating around on social media where you have the I think it's an Indian or Arab brothers, young brothers. They start off as kids when they first watch The Undertaker, and then you see them as they age, basically. And that's essentially what me and my friends went through. I mean, here we are going through, junior high, and oh wow, you follow wrestling? Yeah, I follow wrestling. You follow wrestling? Yeah, I follow wrestling. Who's your favorite? Like Undertaker, and oh, mine's too. It's like, so to go from junior high, seeing the whole thing with the streak, going to high school with the same people, with the same friends, and then going to college with the same friends, right? And then going into adult life with the same friends, and then now some of us are having kids, right? And so it's just amazing how Undertaker's career has impacted so many generations when you really stop and you think about it. But through us as fans that go that far back, I mean, that's how you become immortal. I mean, we will always be continuing to speak the gospels of Undertaker, just the character, the riveting storytelling with that character. And I agree with the sentiments that some of the WWE stars had said in their montage clips about Taker. I think it was perhaps Shawn Michaels that said, or maybe it was Edge that said, we're never going to see another character quite like The Undertaker. It might have even been Batista now that I think about it. And that is very accurate. That is very accurate. If it were to happen, once again, I promise you, it's not going to happen in our respected lifetimes. I don't see it happening. I don't. In my respected lifetime, and wrestling fans around my age range, I don't see it happening again around not our respected lifetime. I don't see it. Could it maybe happen in the next lifetime? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I would beg to differ. I would beg to differ because, and I'll explain the reason why. Not to make it too long-winded, but I'll give you a short version. Could you just imagine if the dirt sheets, social media, and all of that, podcast, could you just take all of that for a second, and could you just imagine if all of that was around prior to Undertaker making his debut? The mystique, just everything surrounding it wouldn't be intact. It would not be intact. Kayfabe, forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. So, yeah, I do believe, I am willing to double down. I don't think we're going to see anything quite like that character again. And then add on top of that a character that through the years brilliantly has been able to reincarnate himself and stay current with the times. Very, very hard to do. There is only a select few of men that have been able to do that through the decades, with Undertaker being at the very top of that list. If I were to maybe go with a second and a third for my list, third, I would put Chris Jericho in there. Say what you will about him and everything, but I would definitely put Chris Jericho at number 3. As far as my number 2, I honestly would go with... That's a tricky one. Because on the one hand, I'm tempted to say the Hulkster. Because I remember the 80s, I remember the 90s, I even remember the 2000s there. I'm very tempted to give it to Hogan. But then I'm also thinking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson there to a certain degree, even though he didn't have the same length of work as his counterparts there, decades upon decades. I think I kind of give him a little bit more of an edge just because of what he was able to do in the wrestling bubble and expand upon it to a certain degree. So he's been able to really, that's a true definition of, here's a guy that's able to reinvent himself time and time and time again and stay relevant, right? He ditches this skin and he puts on, this skin over here. So think about it for a second, because The Rock goes from wrestler, right? Well, no, goes from playing sports. So he's a sports athlete. Then he goes to being a wrestler. He ditches that suit and then he puts on an actor's suit. All right, so now he's going into Hollywood. All right, so he does that, crushes that, very successful at it, then starts killing it as a producer, then starts killing it with his production company, and now look where the guy is. Now the guy's selling his own booze. Now the guy has his own sports league in the XFL, right? And it's possible that the guy may be going into politics. So it depends on how you want to look at it. If you just want to stick strictly to the world of pro wrestling and not count all of those things, if you just want to look at wrestling itself and look at a character that's been able to reinvent themselves time and time and time and time again, then I dare say the list is still very, very short. You would still have to go with Taker. You would have to go with the Hulkster. And you got to go with Jericho as far as marquee names that people, yeah, I know the name. Yeah, at some point I came across them in the past 30 years. I saw a little bit of their work, good or bad, just the fact that they were able to reinvent themselves with the times there. Very valid point there. But yeah, I mean, just all I can say is thank you. I mean, a lot of good memories, fun stories that we're going to be able to tell. One of the best in-ring psychologists, one of the best in-ring storytellers that there is, as far as Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, goes, and there's not going to be anyone quite like him. And look, you don't need me to tell you. I see your comments every single time WWE is doing this thing on a Monday night, Friday night, hell, even on a pay-per-view night. I see what you guys say sometimes about the product and everything, and it's a lost art what Taker was able to do for all of these 30 years. When you just really break him down and you just look at everything that you want in a wrestler, especially as far as your storytelling and all that goes, Undertaker embodies that so perfectly. And when you look at today's crop of wrestlers, there are a lot of them that sadly, okay, you might have this, but you're missing this chapter over here. Just picture you have a book that's 12 pages long on how to be the perfect wrestler. And just imagine, rather than give that entire 12-page book to one person so that they can really hone their craft and take it to the next level, just imagine if that one person is just going through that. Okay, I'm just going to take this one page. I like that. That applies to me. I like that the most. Okay, well, you might be excelling in that one chapter on that one page or whatever, but you don't have the rest of this over here. So, and that's what I see consistently with a lot of the promotions that I'm looking at. There are a few diamond in the rough cats I see and I go, oh, they're complete. They are complete. They are just in the wrong era right now. If they were in this era, they would have freaking thrived with what they're doing right now. But it's a big problem. It's a big problem. And it seems to me that we really need for more guys like the Undertakers, like the Booker T's, like the Steve Austins, like the Mick Flairs, the Jerichos, etc. We really need these guys to, really be steering that ship of the next generation of talent to, hey, remember, storytelling. That's great. You got the in-ring work and all that. You got the nice flashy attire and everything. You got your catchphrase. You got your t-shirt and everything. But, That all doesn't mean anything if you don't have those fans eating out of the palm of your hands. You should be able to just freaking come out there at your mere presence. The fans should just be right there. And that's something that The Undertaker was able to do time and time and time and time and time and time again. Feel free to share your thoughts about how the segment had played out tonight with Undertaker getting the bon voyage there. But nothing else more we need to elaborate with regards to that. So that pretty much was how Survivor Series had ended. But hey, we did not get a chance to talk about the matches that happened on Survivor Series tonight. So let's have at it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this card here. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying the show so far and you happen to be checking out the webcast version of this, do me a huge favor. Make sure you hit the like button. Means a lot. Click the bell. Subscribe, all that good jazz so you don't miss out on the new content. And yeah, and we're streaming live on multiple platforms right now. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitch, Periscope, Facebook. Just use keywords, the RCWR show. I didn't even put up a poll asking you guys, what did you think about Survivor Series? I don't really think we need to tonight. Just the fact that it was Undertaker themed. Enough said. Enough said. Hands down, thumbs up, right? I don't really think we need to put a poll out. All right, let's talk about some of these matches. For the pre-show, sadly did not get a chance to watch the pre-show. I believe it was an hour long. I did not get a chance to watch it. I was actually out still running some errands. But the pre-show, only one pre-show match, Miz had won a 18-man dual brand battle royal. And the Miz won by being the last man. He eliminated Dominic Mysterio. Now, I'm trying to see if I can figure out who the participants were in this one, and I'm not seeing it off the break, so bear with me a second here, and I will tell you guys what went down here. Let's see. So it looks like John Morrison, Kalisto, Rey Mysterio, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo. Looks like Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Buddy Murphy, Robert Roode, Jeff Hardy, Nakamura, Elias, Chad Gable. That appears to be all the names I'm seeing. If there's a couple of more in there, I'll have to rely on you guys, but those are just some of the names that I'm seeing right now in case I didn't name everybody that was participants in it. But Miz, again, eliminating Dominic Mysterio to win that 18-man. Let me make sure I got the proper name of this battle royal down. 18-man dual brand battle royal. All right, your actual pay-per-view event match, Team Raw's AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Riddle defeated Team SmackDown's Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, and Otis. 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series elimination match. Went about 20 minutes and some change. I gotta tell you something. For this to open up the pay-per-view, I was shocked. But let me explain why I was shocked. I was shocked from the standpoint Team Raw won with a sweep. Team Raw won with a sweep. Nobody on Team Raw got eliminated. And that's what was really, really surprising to me. Now, if you had checked out Monday's RCWR show, which is available on demand and on the downloads, I was going back and forth on this match. On the one hand, I felt Team Raw was going to somehow be able to get it done. But then on the other hand, I said, no, you know what? Team SmackDown. It needs to be on Team SmackDown. They got to get this. Jey Uso's got to redeem himself for what all came about on recent weeks of SmackDown programming. He still got to prove himself to Roman Reigns. But then I brought up the equation of, well, wait a minute. Over the course of the past couple of weeks, Jey Uso has gone ruthless on Daniel Bryan. He's gone ruthless on Kevin Owens. These guys are going to want to cash in a receipt on Jey Uso. Yeah. And so I considered that and I'm going, yeah, there's going to be dissension amongst Team SmackDown. Surely KO is going to do something here. But I still said, no, you know what? Jey Uso, he's somehow going to pull it off. He's going to get the W. Damn, I don't mind being wrong, but to say a clean sweep, I don't know. Some of the booking in some of these matches was a bit weird, and this was one of those matches that was very weird because, okay, the Seth Rollins spot, I didn't have a problem with that. For those of you that didn't watch the pay-per-view, at one point, Seth Rollins asked for a tag. And if I remember, Kevin Owens was actually the legal man, but Seth Rollins put his hand out. He wanted to get in there. KO was a little bit reluctant, but he tagged him in there. Seth goes in, and he's facing Sheamus. And before the two could even lock up, Rollins drops to his knees and sacrifices himself and says, do to me what you will. I will be the sacrifice. I mean, he's putting some biblical stuff out there, biblical mumbo jumbo. Sheamus is just looking on at him, and Team Raw's going, yeah, kick his damn head off. Go ahead, kick his damn head off. Team SmackDown's wondering what the hell Rollins is doing. So, yeah, he essentially sacrificed himself for the greater good. Sheamus bro kicked the hell out of Rollins. 1, 2, 3. Rollins is eliminated. So you're looking at that spot. You're going, okay, well, this seems kind of confusing here. And I thought for sure we were going to see KO try to cash in that receipt on Jey Uso, because as soon as that spot with Rollins happens, the guys on the SmackDown side, they go off to the side of the ring. They're talking with one another, and a little bit of inaudible stuff, but you definitely hear KO say to Jey Uso, don't touch me. So you're going, oh, all right, so we're still following up on what went down a couple of weeks ago. Okay, all right, good. Now, let's amplify that, because we got to see KO at least do a stunner on Jey Uso. Yeah, we got to at least see that. It didn't happen. We eventually see KO get eliminated. Like I said, it was a clean sweep. Like, you're thinking at least maybe once Kevin Owens gets eliminated, okay, well, I don't have to be all about Team SmackDown anymore because I got eliminated. So, what the hell? Since I'm on my way out the door, I'll just give a stunner to Jey Uso. Doesn't happen. It was kind of bipolar. There as far as I was concerned. But that was very head scratching to see Team Raw get in there, clean sweep. I was really left scratching my head there. I thought for sure, just looking at the team, I thought for sure Team Raw was going to win after I saw how things were kind of playing out early on in the match. But I thought it was at least going to be pretty damn close. And the fact that it wasn't pretty damn close was a bit disappointing, I have to say. But yeah, kind of weird there. Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, the SmackDown Tag Champions, taking on New Day's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Big E actually tagged along with the guys at ringside. Champion versus Champions tag team match. Went about 15 minutes, give or take. Good freaking tag team match. Loved it. Loved these guys. Great chemistry. Look, Street Profits going over on the New Day. The right tag team went over, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, as far as my picks for tonight, as far as how they went overall, because I did offer predictions on Monday's show, not too shabby. A couple that I missed, but not too shabby overall. Street Profits, I did say on Monday, needed to get the W here because I felt they needed a little bit, not per se a rub off, but for me, I really felt that it could have propelled them just a little bit more, especially from the argument of, okay, well, as far as New Day and Street Profits go, it's now 1-0 Street Profits. Come on, New Day, they just got back to tag titles and everything. I just kind of felt it made more sense to go in favor of the Street Profits for the W here tonight, just to help elevate them a little bit, help them going into SmackDown and everything. So, as far as I'm concerned, the right team went over. Look, New Day's all right anyway. They got that Gears of War 5 money. Come on. I know there's many of you guys that can't wait to get your hands on Gears of War so you can play as the New Day. Me, personally, quick sidebar, I haven't played Gears of War since Part 3. I tried to play Part 4. Wasn't the same for me. I didn't like the whole experience with Part 4, and I just said, yeah, I'm done. So anytime I get the itch to play some Gears, I pop in 1, 2, or 3, and that's pretty much the end of it for me. Some people were wondering, hey, Big E, what's going on with Big E there? Because remember, we hadn't seen Big E in a couple of weeks on SmackDown. And I remember saying, okay, well, as far as Team Raw taking on Team SmackDown in that 5-on-5, what's going on with Big E? Why don't we put him in that matchup? And I still think it's quite weird. Let me see if I got this straight. And as far as I know, Big E is not injured. I mean, we haven't heard anything from wrestling news sites, dirt sheets, and all that. So as far as we know, he's not injured. So until we hear otherwise, he's not injured. So let me see if I got this straight. We haven't seen him on the past couple of weeks of SmackDown. Yet, when it comes to this 5-on-5 Men's Survivor Series eliminations match, he's not incorporated in that whatsoever. Yet we can have him come out at ringside with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods as Xavier and Kofi are taking on the Street Profits. I totally can understand people that are scratching their heads going, wait a minute, what's going on with Big E? I thought Big E was supposed to be on this path of a singles competitor monster now. What's going on here? We haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. We see him again. He's with the New Day. And so it was kind of weird seeing Big E in that spot when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? We get it. It's a Gears of War WWE marketing little thingamajigga. Okay, we get it. By the way, WWE, I still got beef with you guys because you all can promote the hell out of New Day, Gears of War, but you can't promote Sasha Banks on Star Wars The Mandalorian. Longtime listeners know I've been on WWE's ass for about 2 weeks now about this. That's all I gotta say. No respect, man. No respect. Next matchup, Lashley, Raw United States Champion, defeated Sami Zayn, the SmackDown Intercontinental Champion, champion versus champion singles match. It went about 6 minutes, maybe 6 minutes and some change. Bobby Lashley defeating Sami Zayn via submission. Took him out with that full Nelson. Numbers game. That's what it was all about right here. It was all about the numbers game. And silly me, man. I looked at this match. I picked Lashley. But there was a part of me that was going, well, not for nothing, but the Hurt Business has been feuding with Retribution for the past several weeks now. Just for giggles, why not just have Retribution make some type of a little cameo or whatnot, do a little something here. At least tease the idea that maybe that's how Sami Zayn has a chance in defeating Lashley in a champion versus champion match is because he got some outside interference help. They didn't even go in that direction, the WWE writers. So that was really scratching my head on that one, because the fact that there was not an end game like that, and instead the end game was all the guys from the Hurt Business, they're taking separate corners outside of the ring so that every time Sami Zayn is essentially going out of the ring, they're technically acting as lumberjack men and making sure that Sami Zayn doesn't leave the match prematurely and tries to settle for a count out or whatever. That for me was another one of those head scratching moments. Really. I didn't get that one. I really didn't get that one. Y'all can explain it to me till you're blue in the face. But I really did not understand that one. That was, look, happy for Lashley, but the booking on that one was just silly. It was very, very silly. What is the point of doing this stuff with Retribution, and these guys are essentially notorious for not showing up on pay-per-views? To each its own. To each its own. By the way, Retribution giving Undertaker and storyline a pass? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's keep going. Sasha Banks, SmackDown Women's Champion. By the way, I do see you all's comments in the chat. We'll get to you all's comments, see what you all had to say about the pay-per-view in a little bit. Sasha Banks, the SmackDown Women's Champion, taking on Asuka. Champion versus champion match. Good matchup. Women tore it up. As far as matches for the card for tonight, I gotta say, of all the matches, tag match between the Street Profits and New Day, loved it. That definitely is a good match. For those of you that didn't see the pay-per-view yet and you want to try to figure out what you need to fast forward to, Street Profits taking on New Day for sure. Sasha Banks taking on Asuka. That would be the other one, I would say. Go check that out. Good matchup. Look, we've seen these two girls lock up before, so we knew going into tonight's card, they're going to have another classic match. Wasn't an issue right here. They did deliver another classic encounter. Sasha Banks pulling in the W, and especially when it counted the most. I didn't even realize this stat until Michael Cole in the game revealed it during the pay-per-view tonight, which was Sasha Banks in each of the encounters that she's had with Asuka. So as long as both women have been on the main roster, Sasha Banks has never gotten a pinfall or submission victory over Asuka. So as soon as you hear that, and you're a longtime veteran wrestling fan, you already know, okay, Sasha's going to get this then. If they're putting that stat out there, she's going to get it hands down. Yeah, and she did get the W and everything. But here's what was kind of weird. This is another one of those, what are we doing here? Where you got to scratch your head and you're trying to figure out what's WWE trying to do here. So Asuka, after she's been defeated by Sasha Banks, she's standing in the ring and she's looking very confused. I mean, she looks like she's about to maybe break out in tears. She looks very sad. She looks like she maybe lost a baby in the middle of a mall or something. Like she just took her eyes off of her baby in the stroller for 5 seconds and now it's gone. And it was really weird seeing her body language and expressions face-wise after she lost to after she lost to Sasha Banks. I'm wondering for Asuka, okay, so like what? Really weird, because in some instances you could see a little bit of good sportsmanship. That was a good one, like Street Profits and New Day. Good sportsman, like post-match, that was good. Yeah, you did good. Yeah, that was all right, okay? And then you get a case where you have the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley. Okay, well, they're heels, tweeners, but heels, I guess on this night, who knows? And that's kind of another interesting one. Who exactly was the heels in this one? Because I felt very sympathetic towards Sami Zayn tonight. Was that the intent? To each its own. But you're looking at Sasha Banks taking on Asuka. Yeah, really weird. Really weird, because on the one hand, Asuka should be going into this still with a serious chip on her shoulders, still very fiery and all that, because in storyline, Sasha Banks Bayley, they pretty much took out Asuka's tag partner in Kairi Sane. So there should be a part of Asuka that's very fired up and still remembers what all happened. So rather than look like you lost your baby in a stroller in the middle of a mall because you lost, I don't understand why Sister didn't quite go belligerent post-match. Because we've seen her go cuckoo crazy before for Cocoa Puffs in the past. Kind of weird right there. Was also kind of weird that, for that matter, just to up the ante a little bit. So if we can have Big E tag along with Kofi and Xavier, so we couldn't get a cameo from Bailey. Bailey is really just gonna let water be under the bridge there with regards to Sasha. This is your opportunity to try to extract some type of revenge. I don't know. It was kind of weird there. Another one of those head scratching moments. By the way, I think the little touch of detail is key, and I got to give WWE props from this standpoint. I like the fact that all the teams that were coming out for Raw and SmackDown, on the back of their jerseys for Raw, they had USA Network. For SmackDown, they had Fox. So I love that they did that. I love that they did that. Nice little touch. Let's go to our next 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series elimination match. That was Team Raw's Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lana, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce. They defeated Team SmackDown's Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Bayley, and Natalya. This was about 20 minutes and change. If I were to tell you that within 20 minutes, this match in particular would have the most stupidest ending, and for you to choose who the participants would be concerning the finish to this, I'm sure that some of the names would rather surprise you. If I had to tell you, just bring it down to one name, I'm sure some of you all's picks would be it wouldn't match up to mine. Maybe it would. I don't know. Look, I said when I was offering predictions this week, Lana is going to get this. No doubt in my mind. You followed the story arc. You're saying, Lana, this is the poor, sympathetic character. That's what WWE does a really good job at. They do a phenomenal job in making you feel sorry for a particular character, getting behind them, rooting them on. They know how to manipulate. They do a great job with that. What I care about more is, okay, so for these talents that are given these opportunities to shine a little bit, how are these talents excelling? And for what Lana has been given within recent weeks, she has been exceeding my expectations. I will be perfectly honest, to the point, you all notice that's been checking out the shows over the course of some weeks now. I've been very complimentary of the work of Lana. Very complimentary. So going into this particular match, I couldn't help but say, oh, okay, so for this one, yeah, Lana is maybe gonna somehow defect, help out Team SmackDown, or maybe she's gonna just finally let loose on the bullies in Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, that's continued to ridicule, pick on her every single week. You know, everybody at some point in their lives growing up as a kid in school was picked on by a bully. You tell your parents, they teach you how to fight, they try to tell you what to do next time, get a teacher's attention, blah this, blah that. And you try going to the teachers, letting them know, but it seems like every time you turn around when this stuff is going on with the bully, man, when the stuff is going on with the bully, nobody's around. So finally, what happens? Come on, you all know the end of the story. You finally reach that breaking point where you act like Ralphie from A Christmas Story and you start beating the bejeebus out of that bully. And that bully never picks on you again. I thought for sure that was the end game going into this. I even doubled down earlier this week and I said, if Lana does not come out of this on top as the victor for Team Raw, then what the flying hell was the point in doing the story arc from the get-go? What was the whole point in having her go through these announcer tables week after week? 9 weeks, so 9 times she goes through a table. What's the whole point? So Lana being the sole survivor of Team Raw doesn't shock me. You know what shocks me and what I consider to be lazy writing? Here's where it connects earlier, where I told you guys what I said earlier. So your order of elimination for this one. Bayley gets eliminated by Peyton Royce via pinfall. that came at about the 9-minute mark of this match. You're going, whoa, that's an upset. Like, damn, for Peyton Royce, I was like, that's a huge upset. By the way, she did pretty good tonight. Peyton Royce, she actually did pretty good tonight. Peyton Royce was then eliminated shortly by Natty via submission. Came in about 2 minutes after Peyton Royce pinned Bayley. Natty gets eliminated by Lacey Evans via pinfall. That came about 90 seconds later. Ruby Riott. Hang on, let me back up a second. Yeah, Natty got eliminated by Lacey Evans. Remember that timestamp. Ruby Riott, she got eliminated by Shayna Baszler via pinfall. That came about the 16-minute mark. Lacey Evans gets eliminated by Liv Morgan via pinfall. That came at about almost the 20-minute mark. See. Liv Morgan, she gets eliminated by Nia Jax. Comes about a minute afterwards. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, they're pretty much left. And then Bianca Belair. Okay, so let's set this up properly. So Shayna Baszler at this point, she's all that's left for Team Smackdown. Across the other side of the ring for Team Raw, it's Nia Jax, Lana, Shayna Baszler. Lana has been given strict instructions to stay outside the ring. Don't do anything. Don't go for a tag. Just stand there. Look stupid. That's literally what the girls said to her in Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I mean, they did her at one point like she was a scolding dog, essentially. Because at one point, Lana did tag in. She did get a tag. And she was actually doing some good stuff. She was holding her own. But then they tagged themselves back in and forced her little behind out of there. All right, so Lana is doing what she's told. She's standing there the entire time. She's not doing anything. She's not getting physical. She's not running any type of interference, not trying to distract the referee. She's not doing anything. She's just standing on top of the apron, just minding her business. So, at this point, Bianca Belair, she realizes what's going on here with the numbers game. And somehow, I forget the whole process of this, by the way. Somehow, Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, y'all gotta clue me in, because this is where I'm totally fucking confused. Somehow, they all get disqualified via countout. And if I'm reading this right, because I gotta blow up my notes here. I don't have my glasses on tonight. Shayna Baszler, correct me if I'm right, guys. Shayna Baszler was going at it with Bianca Belair. She had a submission hold on Bianca. It's coming back to me now. She had a submission hold on Bianca. They go over to the ropes, because Bianca eventually was able to get to the ropes. She's trying to get the rope break. Shayna Baszler continues to keep that submission hold on Bianca. Am I remembering it right, guys? Let me know. Again, this is top of my head here, top of my memory. Shayna wouldn't let it go. Referee had no choice but to call for the bell, and in the process of that, that's how Shayna Baszler gets disqualified. So now it's down to Bianca Belair, Nia Jax. Lana is still standing by her lonesome, minding her own damn business. Now, you would think at this point, Nia Jax goes, well, you know what? I know I said I don't want this girl to tag in, but I need the help. You're thinking at this point she's going to go ahead and tag Lana, and then this is it. This is Lana's big moment. Lana can finally stick it to freaking Nia Jax, and at the same time, come out on top and still be the sole survivor for Team Raw. Pick up the W and everything. That's not what happened. So, Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, they're fighting outside of the ring. And I remember at one point, Nia Jax, Nia Jax was trying to do something, and Bianca Belair somehow was able to swing Nia Jax into the steel steps. This made Nia, and by the way, great fucking no sell by Nia Jax after she went into those steel steps. I love how she just instantly popped up and she started chasing Bianca Belair. I thought I was watching a freaking skit from the Benny Hill show. And they were continuing the fight outside of the ring. I remember Bianca Belair and Nia. Something weird happens where Nia, I think, goes over the barrier. Bianca tries to hurry up and get in the ring, but at this point, the referee calls for 10. So he's already done the count. He's already at 10. Boom. That's it. Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, they're both eliminated. However, the lone survivor is Lana. So Lana wins that way. I'm sorry. Not sorry. I'm doubling down on what I posted on Twitter, which is, and I quote, that was the stupidest freaking finish with Lana. Lame ass writers. And I'm not changing that. Convince me otherwise. Look, I'm down for Lana picking up the W. But I thought we were going to do it in a way where, okay, this is her big moment. She can finally get back at that bully or those bullies in Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. She can finally stick it. Really, the biggest bully of them all was really Nia Jax. So the fact that it was down to Bianca and Nia, I thought for sure the story we were going to tell right there, Nia was maybe going to look for a hot tag. Now she needs Lana. And I was ready to hear Lana say, now you need me. Now you want my help. Now you need me. All the other weeks, you didn't want me. Now you need me, huh? Why? I was ready for that type of rapport between the two. But we didn't get that. We did not get that. I was even ready for Lana to talk all that hot game to Nia, get the tag, go in there. Oh, man. Hear the commentator say, man, Lana is coming in here like a hot firecracker on the 4th of July. She just may pull this off for Team Raw. And then just when it looked as though Lana had this all in control, she was getting ready to pick up the W, Nia somehow tags herself in, tries to pick up the scraps, and this just makes Lana kirk the hell out. And she just starts wailing on freaking Nia Jax. Helps out Bianca, right? So it's technically 2-on-1. 1, 2, 3. Nia gets out of there. Now you put it on Lana and Bianca. And then if you still want to have Lana go out on top, that's how you do it. This was the weirdest fucking finish to a match. 20 minutes for a person just to be standing there at the apron just to be declared the winner. That's what we got. That's the payoff. That's the payoff. I like what some of you guys I like what some of you guys had said here, with the exception of, and I'm looking on Twitter, by the way, and bear with me one second here. Bear with me one second here. Bear with me one second. Yeah, I like what some of you guys had said here. Kayla, she said, oh my God. Gerald, why watch AEW but watch WWE? Watch the train wreck of this trash. Man, they're not learning or changing. So gonna get worse. Hey, just because I heart your tweets and all that, it doesn't mean that I freaking... what's the right word? It doesn't mean I 100% agree. That's my way of just letting you know I saw what you had to say. And in this case, I saw what you had to say. Another thing that I like about Twitter and all that, I love the fact that when it comes to Twitter, you can, I don't know if you guys saw this too. It's a really cool feature. Just a quick sidebar. I don't know if you guys had noticed this, but whenever you put out a tweet, right? And if you see something that's part of your timeline there for whatever you put out, and you're going, yeah, I don't really like that comment, you can now omit people from your timeline. It's badass. And from what I'm able to see, it looks like this feature, you can only do it. I think the feature is only visible on your mobile device, and you'll know it when you see it, because you'll see your follow, add, remove, mute this conversation, block. But then there's also a little joint that says, you want to omit them from your timeline. And when you do that, it's pretty badass. So kind of keep that in mind next time, because I know some of you guys, you be having some intense, heated conversations, sports related or whatever, and you get something that you don't like. Well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Let's see, we got one more match we can talk about. Oh, I will read one more comment though. I will read one more comment. Matt via Twitter. See, we show love to everybody. Matt via Twitter. I mean, everyone with half a brain knew something like that was going to happen. And let me just look at this. Wow, this guy looks totally okay. Let me be nice, because I tell you guys, I don't pick on people. Okay, so let me be good. It's the holiday season after all. Let me be good. But I'm sorry. Can we all, as fans, be in agreement? Can we all be in agreement? We knew, for the record, Lana was going to win for Team Raw. We just didn't think it was going to happen in this fashion, given the way the story arc was going. Not to mention, we had seen in storyline leading up to tonight's pay-per-view, we had saw instances where Lana seemed like she was getting ready to kirk the hell out. Like she was getting ready to reach a freaking breaking point, and she was just going to wild out on everybody. See, it's easy for people to talk like this when something is happening in real time. It's easy to come off looking like an arrogant prick. That's honestly how look, I've been a victim of it. You all have been guilty of it too. It's like, oh, everybody knew that. But of course, I mean, really? Yeah, it's easy to say that when it's happening in real time. But how many people will actually know, you know what? I think it's going to lay out like this, and they're giving it to you word for word how it's probably going to lay out days before it actually happens. Hell, I can even give you credit for hours before it actually happens. That's the big difference. See, it'd be easy for anybody to just come on and say, oh yeah, Lana's going to win for Team Raw hands down. But then it's a matter of, okay, well, how exactly, is it going to play out? How are you envisioning it playing out? See, this is the real offense that guys like Matt and other people are missing, is that you got 20 fucking writers, and this is the best finish that motherfuckers can come up with. I'm sorry, but the way the storyline was being built, you really had got the impression Lana was going to have her night. She was going to finally get her ultimate revenge and then some tonight. Now, the way things pretty much have ended and everything, it's safe to say week number 10, Lana's going to be going through another announcer's table in less than 24 hours. Mark my words, I guarantee it. Let's go to our next matchup. I love reading you all's comments, by the way. Good, bad, indifferent. I love reading you guys' comments. All right, so let's see. We got one more match to talk about, and then we're pretty much gonna be it. We're gonna be done. We're gonna be done. We're gonna be done. Roman Reigns, SmackDown's Universal Champion, taking on Drew McIntyre, the Raw's WWE Champion. These guys went about almost a half hour. I gotta give mad props to both of these men. This was another match that was pretty damn good. I love this one. So if you're keeping track, I don't gave you Street Profits taking on New Day as one match. You should really just go out of your way, fast forward, check that out on your DVR or on your network subscription. Check out Sasha Banks taking on Asuka. Check out Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Those matches, that's what you need to peep out. And then after you get done watching those three, if you want to just go back, watch a couple of minutes of the other matches, have at it. But those are the three I would say go out of your way off the break, check those out. That way you get a really good idea, get a good feel for where everybody fans wise, where we're at, and especially when we're talking about, well, that was a good match. No, this was actually good. This was good as well. Look, Roman Reigns going over on Drew McIntyre. Right move. Right move. I love the fact that Jey Uso had to get involved, though, because leading up to this match, backstage segment, Jey Uso catches up with Roman Reigns. Roman is pissed that Jey Uso did not take care of business in his Team Raw versus SmackDown match earlier in the night. And he pretty much chews into Jey Uso big time. He says to him, you didn't win. And you don't win, not only are you disrespecting yourself, but you're disrespecting me. And I can't have that. I can't have weakness around me. Of all nights, not on this night. You're done. Be gone. And Jimmy Uso was trying to talk to Jey. Man, we don't need this fool. Come on, let's go. And Roman's going, no, Jimmy, you can go. I don't remember talking to you anyway, so you can go. Jey, you're staying right here. And I love me some unhinged Roman Reigns. I'm telling you, I'm loving it. I'm loving unhinged Roman Reigns. That's how I'm dubbing this dude. But yeah, Roman chewed into Jey Uso's ass big time. He chewed him out. So if you're following the story arc on SmackDown, Jey Uso wants to do nothing more than please Roman, show that he's down for the cause and everything. So as soon as you go into this match and you see the spot that went down where the referee gets taken out inadvertently, if I remember it right, I want to say, you know what? I love the fact that they had Drew McIntyre kick out of a couple of spears. There was one spot where he went through a table. I mean, all of these things you're going, okay, that's got to be it for Drew. I love the fact that they had Drew power out of those joints. But at one point, McIntyre comes in with a Claymore kick. Somehow it inadvertently bumps into the damn referee, knocks the referee out. You're going 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should be it. But Jey Uso gets in there, helps out his cuz. So pretty much you got the numbers game going on right there. And Roman Reigns, that's pretty much how he was able to secure the W there. Matter of fact, let me just go back one more time, making sure I'm not missing anything from those closing moments of the night. Let's see. Yeah, Jey Uso came out charging down, according to my notes here. McIntyre, he did fight him off, that one time. But then Reigns, low blow. I mean, low as Sunday. I mean, he hit him good. Uso follows it up with a super kick. Roman comes in with a submission guillotine hold, little submission hold. By this time, a new referee has entered the ring, checking in on Drew. Drew, last little bit of strength. He was down to his knees, but last little bit of strength. He actually stands up and then drops back to his knees and eventually passes out. I love the fact that the way that they booked Drew, they made Drew look like one bona fide, tough-ass, nitty-gritty champion. Some serious grit. I love that. I love that they did that with Drew. Because remember, when we watched SmackDown this past Friday, remember that scathing promo that Roman Reigns, and it was the truth. The past 2 weeks of SmackDown, man, WWE writers through Roman Reigns, they were speaking the gospel, man. Nobody watches Raw. Yeah, you look at them numbers. The numbers are going down. Yeah, you're just a second-class champion. You're just a go-to guy whenever I'm not available. Like, ooh, like, how you really feel, dude? So, thinking about how the storyline's been playing out the past couple of weeks over on SmackDown when Drew and Roman been going at it, yeah, you needed for Drew McIntyre to have that defining moment here tonight against Roman. So that played out beautifully. I wasn't disappointed by McIntyre's performance. I got to say, one of my I'll be brutally honest. I enjoyed this match with Roman Reigns a lot more than those couple of months of Drew and Randy Orton. I gotta be honest. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed almost magical tonight what was going on between Drew and Roman and how both men really rose to the occasion to put on an instant classic. I felt it was an instant classic. I won't say match of the year candidate, but it was a pretty cool moment there seeing both of those guys go at it. So again, Drew McIntyre coming out on top, still looking kind of strong there. Even though he lost, he still came out on top, given the performance that he had. Never die, never quit attitude. And then Roman Reigns continuing on with his badass tribal chief persona. Good shit right there. So, pay-per-view overall, I know I had pointed out 3 matches out of essentially, what? Include the pre-show, 7 matches total. So, I can't talk about the pre-show because I didn't watch it. So, I can't really comment on that. But Sasha Banks, Asuka, good match. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, damn good match. Street Profits, New Day, good match. I mean, that's 3 right there. Yeah, I think you guys would be in agreement. You know what? I can only go halfway on the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series elimination match. The finish was just real buzzkill. It really, really was buzzkill. For what it was worth, I did enjoy the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series match, but that finish, it just leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. And look, I will say this with regards to Lana, just circling back to her one more time. By the way, I did see her WWE Chronicle. I'll talk about it more on Monday's show. But watching the WWE Chronicle, you just can't help but root even harder for Lana. You just can't help but you know. And I know for me, yeah, over the years, I've had some jokes and things that I've said about Lana, to the point I even went back and I looked at all of the things that I said about her in history, and I can knock on wood and say that anytime I ever talked about Lana, I never did it the way that she was describing in WWE Chronicle about how some fans can be very hurtful, very mean spirited with the things that, they say about her, and, wishing death on an individual and everything. Just, I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. When you are, taking fact and fiction and fantasy, just when all of that starts to blur and you can't really differentiate, that's when you need to back off a little bit as a fan and say, I need to disengage for a bit. But, watching that WWE Chronicle, I just couldn't help but come out having even more respect for it. And I'm glad that before I watched the WWE Chronicle, because I actually watched it yesterday, I'm being Friday night going into Saturday, I watched it. I'm glad that I was singing the praises of Lana within recent weeks, long before I watched the WWE Chronicle. But yeah, I'm happy to say I never said anything that was that mean spirited like some people were saying about probably the probably the most raunchiest thing I ever said about Lana was when she finally started doing the angle with Bobby Lashley, and I said, oh, Lana's getting blacked. And everybody knows about black.com. Anybody that knows a thing or two about porn knows about black.com and a couple other of them sites. So don't act like you guys don't know. Oh my God, that's just disgusting. By the way, for research purposes, what was the name of that site again? That's not the sound of typing either. I think you guys know by now what that sound is. You know what that sound is exactly. But yeah, good pay-per-view overall. I give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed the pay-per-view. Just for the Undertaker celebration alone, the proper send off for Undertaker, just that alone was worth the admission and checking out tonight's pay per view. So good stuff, good fucking stuff. Let's see what you guys are saying about the pay per view and all that overall here. And you guys got my attention for the next little bit while I'm live here. By the way, leave the thumbs. You guys that's watching the stream, however you're watching it live or you're going to be watching this on demand, make sure you're leaving the thumbs up and everything. And quick programming note, I'm actually coming right back around live. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to watch The Undertaker, Steve Austin, Broken Skull sessions. It's one more round for those guys. I'm actually going to watch that, and I'm going to come right back on live, and I'm going to review that for you guys. So if you guys, maybe you don't have access to the WWE Network tonight because maybe you're going to be at work or whatever, and you want to get my thoughts on that Part 2 event, come on back. I'll be live. And everybody else that's going to be watching it, maybe we can reminisce, compare notes, talk about the highs, many highs. I don't expect there to be any lows for that Broken Skull Sessions joint. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Steven is saying Bianca Belair would have made it. Bianca Belair would have made it in. She was, cause around the ring, Nia pushed her outside. Then, oh man, Steven, you gotta clean that up, buddy. I'm trying hard to clean that up for you off the fly, but your sentence is a little bit jumbled up there. Try that again, and I'll definitely show you some love. F.A. I'm calling you F.A. because I don't know how to pronounce your first and last name. That man Taker gave me chills every time with his entrance. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Even to this day, as long as I've been watching him, the hair, a little bit of hair on my forearms still goes up, and I still get goosebumps hearing the fucking gong and everything just go into darkness and just that slow entrance. Oh, good shit, man. Good shit. Jock, I still can't believe that Taker has been with the WWE for 30 straight years. You know, that is a accomplishment in itself that, when you really stop and think about it, I dare ask the question, have you ever known, just think about your favorite sport. Could be basketball, it could be football, could be baseball. Have you ever heard of the same athlete playing for the same club for 30 years? I haven't. I would like to know what is perhaps the second closest record to that outside of professional wrestling. I would like to know what's the second record. I mean, I think that would make a good discussion for the show, quite honestly. And just because some of us are trivia buffs anyway. So, I mean, that is a hell of an accomplishment. A hell of an accomplishment. I mean, you really stop and think about that. For us fans, we have probably in the span of 30 years, depending on when we legally became, 18 or whatever, or an adult, whatever. But you can't help but say to yourself, okay, so from the time I was 18 to now, how many jobs have I had since I've been watching The Undertaker? It's kind of one of those type of deals, right? And, most likely we all have changed employers more times. And Undertaker has been with Vince McMahon and the WWF/WWE all this time. That's an amazing accomplishment. It really is. It really is. And it's a testament at the same time of dedication and respecting your employer and so much more. I mean, it's so surreal. You just don't hear that. You don't even hear of relationships lasting that long in today's modern era. Not to bore you guys, but I remember seeing a news report about a month and a half ago that were saying how COVID has made couples break up because they're spending more and more time together as a result of the COVID, because they're not able to go do their 9 to 5 like they normally would, and they're both spouses are either working remote from home, or maybe one is able to work, but it's very limited. But when it's all said and done, both are looking at each other, and then add on top of that, you can't really go out and do XYZ, right? So to hear 30 years with the same company. No, okay, I'm gonna do TNA for a hot minute and then I'm gonna go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. If I had only one regret about Undertaker's career, I wish I could have gotten a chance to see him through WWE Vince McMahon work out some type of a deal where Undertaker could have done a limited tour and done some stuff in other promotions. I would have loved to seen Undertaker take on Tanahashi. And for you guys that are not New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, New Japan Pro Wrestling, when you think about Tanahashi, if I were to describe him, Hiroshi Tanahashi, he is essentially the Japanese John Cena / Hulk Hogan. That's the best way I can describe him. He's kind of like both of those guys rolled up into one, but just a Japanese version. I wish that I could have gotten a chance to see, because as far as my dream matches go, I know everybody's like, Sting. But several years back, once I started getting into New Japan, he's a guy for me. Oh, his style would work very well with, insert this name. This name. So I wish that there were, and of course Sting, look, no disrespect to Sting, but of course, that's a no-brainer, but it's like, other than that, of course, I wish Undertaker could have gotten a chance to work with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I think that would have been some very, very memorable segments. Very memorable segments. Think it would have been an okay matchup too, but definitely just the psychological aspects of the storytelling leading up to both men fighting. Hell, you could have even done it cinematic style for all I care. I think they would have done pretty damn good. Let's see, what else we got here? Go ahead, you all can comment a little bit more, if you want there. Otherwise, let's see, how we doing on time? Feels like we've been on for about an hour and a half. We only done about an hour and 23. Yeah, let's go ahead and stick a fork in it on that note. All right, so once again, FYI, it is 11:53 p.m. on the East Coast right now, November 22nd. I'm going to be back as soon as I get done watching Broken Skull sessions with Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. One more round. This is part 2 of them sitting down doing an interview together. And to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis, basically, this is 1 year later, 1 year later, since they pretty much had talked. So this is, if I remember it right, as far as the synopsis goes. So I'll know it when I watch it, but I'll be back. I'll be reviewing that. So if you guys want to just come on back and hang out with me for a little bit, we can definitely do that. Everybody else that's not going to be able to watch that live presentation, I will be back yet again Monday night after Raw goes off the air. We'll be streaming live on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Meantime, for those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand, continue the conversation. Let me know what you had thought about tonight's Survivor Series pay-per-view event. Most curious. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Check out bonus audio, video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. $5 a month. Get you access to boatloads of great content. Shout out to our Patreon members, Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Gino Morgan. Shout out to Freddie, Michael Wolf, John Davis. Shout out to Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel Super War, Tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, Tony Bean Gaming. He is the man. Also, those of you that might not know, you're about to know, you all had pointed out to me about a week and a half ago, as some of you all reached out to me in a private message, be it on YouTube, comments, email, Twitter private message, even Instagram. You all had gave me a heads up that, hey, what's going on with Spotify? Looked you up on Spotify and your show, it just disappeared. What happened? So I created a new RSS feed specifically for the purpose of having the shows be available for you all on Spotify. So we're available all over the place, but there's a good number of you guys that love your Spotify, and that's how you were checking out all the shows. So Spotify, I do have it active on there as well. So check out Spotify, follow the RCWR show on there as well. All right. That is going to do it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for checking out this Survivor Series post show. I'll catch you guys for the Stone Cold Broken Skull sessions in a little bit. Otherwise, catch you for Monday's RCWR show. And until then, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. And most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next go round. Adios.